Hey, what's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to the Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and my goal is to talk to you guys about what's going on in the world of economics and finance and stock markets and everything else, so that we can take the lead when it comes to wealth and economic intelligence. Anyway, there was a big announcement today by President Donald Trump. He actually signed something that I knew he was going to sign. I actually talked to you guys about this, an executive order involving cryptocurrency. Now, a lot of people thought that he was going to sign an order on the first day he was inaugurated, and he didn't do that. And some people were disappointed. And in fact, when you looked at the price of Bitcoin, you saw the price go up, and then it started to go back down after the day went by and he didn't sign anything. Well, Bitcoin's up again today, if I'm not mistaken. And let me just double check to make sure I'm not lying to you. And I believe that part of the reason the price, it's up 2.5% today. And I believe that the reason the price went up is because the president finally did what everyone knew he was going to do, which was to sign an executive order around cryptocurrency. This is a big deal. This was easy money. Many of you who've been following me for a while know that I've been telling you for a couple of years about Bitcoin and crypto and what was going to happen here. And we talked about Bitcoin hitting 100,000 5 years ago. Actually, we started talking about that, and that was back when it dropped from maybe 40 or 50,000 down to the 20s, and everybody thought that it was BS. But now you see Bitcoin is at $106,000. Now, here's something else that's interesting. The CEO of BlackRock actually said that he thinks that Bitcoin could hit 700,000. I don't doubt that. I believe him 100%. I do believe that at least for the next 4 years, you're going to have significant support from the White House on the growth of cryptocurrency as an asset class. And that's going to really benefit those of you that are invested in Bitcoin. I'm an investor. A lot of you are invested. So congratulations if you are. Give me a yes if you're an investor. Give me a yes if you own crypto. Anyway, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm going to give you the breakdown of this executive order that the president signed. A few things that are going to happen from this executive order. One, you're going to have he's basically creating this high-level crypto task force that's going to basically be a working group that's going to propose new regulations for cryptocurrency. A lot of recommendations are going to come out in July of 2025. This is what they paid for. The people that the reason that he got elected, and again, I don't care who you voted for. I'm sorry. I'm exhausted about black folks getting mad at each other because of who they voted for. I think that I wish y'all would fight as hard for your own damn family wealth as we fight for these damn politicians. I'm sorry. Fight for your family. Don't be fighting for these Democrats and Republicans. They don't care about none of y'all. In my opinion, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings by me saying that. But anyway, here's the deal. So basically, he got elected because he went to the crypto folks and he said the Biden administration is not supporting crypto, and they said, yeah, they're not, and because they support Gary Gensler, who was the chairman of the SEC, and Gary Gensler was just this it was weird. It was very weird. I didn't understand Gensler's approach to regulation. They did what they call regulation by enforcement, where they would just let you break the law and then come back and sue you later. And you're like, but I asked you if it was legal, and you said, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it's not. And then you go do it, and then they're like, we're suing you because that was illegal. And you're like, fool, I asked you that 3 years ago. That's what this guy was doing. I still don't understand it. I need to go and research this because I didn't understand it. Maybe there's a bigger picture. Gary Gensler's not a stupid man, but it didn't make any sense. Like he would do that. Like, think about that. Imagine if you're about to park and you ask the cop, hey, can I park here? Is it legal? And he's like, I don't know. You can go ahead if you want to. And then you come back and there's a ticket in your car because you parked illegal, or they told your car. That would make me furious. I'm sorry, that would make me really angry. So here's the deal about financial markets. Here's how asset prices work. My dissertation was written on asset pricing, and I can tell you one thing about asset pricing is that uncertainty reduces the price of an asset. Any type of uncertainty. So this uncertainty, this lack of regulatory clarity, as they refer to it in this case, was keeping the price of crypto artificially low. They were keeping it artificially low, and it wasn't necessary. It frustrated me as much as you have grandma gets her big toe cut off because she got the diabetes, she got the sugar, she got the diabetes, and you see grandma have all these health ailments that came from all the soul food that we eat every Sunday. And it's like preventable, but we don't want to prevent it because we just want to keep doing the same thing. It's the same way. The price of this asset, crypto, Most assets, most legitimate cryptos was kept artificially low because they just sort of invoked this lack of regulational clarity that kept the prices down. Do you understand? And what happens is that this is an opportunity for you if you believe that at some point they're going to clear it up. And like him or not, this is what the Trump administration promised to do. They said, "Look, if you get us elected, we'll go up in there. We're gonna clean house. We're gonna create clarity. We're gonna give you clear rules. We're gonna tell you exactly what to do. We're gonna clear a lane for you." So one thing that the Trump administration is working on is they are basically trying to clear a lane for crypto. They're trying to basically just say, "Hey, look, you're an asset class. Go make your money. Do your thing." That is good for Bitcoin. That is good for Ethereum. That is good for Solana. That is good for XRP. That is good for crypto. So if you ain't making money, if you have not made money on crypto yet, I want to find you and I want to grab you by your neck. I just want to, because I'm telling you, I've been talking to y'all every morning because we do finance class every morning. Y'all, some of y'all are making insane amounts of money. Like there's money out there, there's money flowing, and I think you might want to look at this. I really do. I don't give investing advice ever, but I can tell you that the money's real. All right. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market. I do have this podcast on Spotify. So if you look up Dr. Boyce Daily on Spotify, you can find me there. I talk about stock market stuff every day. And if you want to just learn how all this stuff works, I have my PhD in finance. I wrote my dissertation on the stock market. You can go to drboycestockmarket.com. So feel free to go there if you want to dig deeper into your investing journey. The stock market is the number one wealth builder in America. If you master the stock market, then you probably won't be broke ever. If your children master the stock market early, they probably won't be broke. So one thing that we do in the Black Business School that no HBCU, no institution that we know of anywhere is doing is we have helped tens of thousands of children master the stock market to a point where they understand it better than adults. So they're never going to really have financial problems because they're positioned to make money. So anyway, drboycestockmarket.com. Feel free to take a look. All right. So here is another thing. So let's finish talking about Trump's executive order. The other thing that it does is it basically promises that they're never going to create a U.S. central bank digital currency, which is interesting. They're pretty much saying, at least under his watch, he's saying we're not going to pursue a digital currency from the central bank, which is was seen as a threat to crypto. And now they're like, the threat won't be there. So again, clearing the lane, regulational clarity, clearing the lane. So it's like crypto was kind of going through the jungle. You know, you go through the jungle like the Amazon, you got to chop down each tree in front of you, and you might get eaten by a snake or something. You're walking through mud and sloshing through, all this chaos. Well, what they've done is they've just basically pulled a bulldozer in and cleared out space for a highway, and then they cleaned out the lane to make sure that there's no other cars on the highway, and they're saying you can drive in this direction. That's very, very powerful. What else does it do? It protects banking services for crypto companies. A lot of the crypto bros were complaining. They said, look, a lot of banks won't serve us. They're discriminating against us. They won't even let us bring our crypto money and put it in that bank because they're worried that we're going to be the next Sam Bankman-Fried, and they just stay away from us. Well, that's not happening anymore because this executive order gives protections for crypto companies in the banking system. Also, they're going to explore a U.S. cryptocurrency reserve. This is big. Why? Well, because to create a cryptocurrency reserve, or where you have a reserve backed by a reserve-backed digital asset, right? So when you build these reserves of these cryptos, that increases demand for the asset. So that it also increases institutional validity of the asset, all of which point to upward. They all point upward. Right now, Bitcoin is at $106,000. You can buy $100 worth. You don't have to buy $106,000 worth. It's hard to buy a whole Bitcoin. Now, mind you, 10 years ago, I think I probably first started talking about crypto maybe 2016. Back then, it would have been easy to buy a coin. You could have bought 10 of them, probably with the amount of money that some of y'all might have spent on iPhones and Jordans and going to the club. No disrespect, but y'all know what it is. But now it's a little bit tougher. It's $106,000. So you can buy pieces of a Bitcoin, though, and that allows you to still ride the wave. There is a long way to go when it comes to Bitcoin. The path is pretty much clearly upward. There's going to be some bumps in the road. It's very volatile, but the expectations that it's going to go up. Also, they want to just basically position the U.S. as a global leader in cryptocurrency and financial technology. So what I see the Trump administration doing on the economic front, and they're very much in tune with economics, mainly because that's just how Trump operates. I've been studying Donald Trump or paying attention to this guy since about probably 1989. And even before he became political, which was literally, I think, maybe about 2014, something like that. Before that, though, when all the rappers loved him and black people loved him, Michael Jackson loved him, Al Sharpton loved him, all these people that maybe say they hate him now, they liked him, back when he wasn't a Democrat or a Republican. One of the things that he's always been in tune with is markets and money, and he issued this Trump coin, which some criticize because it's pretty worthless, but it's really just kind of a commemorative coin. I think that's the way they're positioning it. But I think the idea that it's a commemorative coin that's that's sort of openly traded on an open market kind of undermines the legitimacy of real coins that actually have real utility. And I think that's where the controversy might lie. Because I agree. I don't think there's anything crazy about a commemorative coin, because commemorative coins are created all the time. There's always coins that they make just remember, I'm sure there's like a 9/11 commemorative coin and stuff like that. But I think that what makes this different is that it's traded on the open market and the price goes up and down and it fluctuates. And a lot of people made money. I think there are people who made 10, 20,000% on their investment in the Trump coin. And they were basically buying into the love and the commitment that people have for Donald Trump. Now, whether or not Tommy Phillips, if you whether or not you should invest in the Trump coin, really comes down to one important thing. It comes down to whether or not you think that the sentiment for Trump, in favor of Trump, is going to increase or if it's going to decrease. And if you think it's going to increase, you have to believe that his that his supporters are going to want to go and buy that coin as a representation of their love and support for their man, Donald Trump. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. I know Trump's sentiment is an enthusiasm. It's pretty high right now. Usually when a new president comes in, they get a lot of support. There's a lot of backing that they have from the American people. So usually you can only go down from there. But then again, though, maybe the coin will maintain its value. I bought a little bit just so I could have it in the portfolio, just because I just like to own a piece of America. Like when other people are winning, I buy what the winners are winning. And right now, the Trumps and the Musks and people like that are winning, right? But at the same time, I understand those who have ethical concerns about Trump. Those are legitimate to some extent because these are hardcore capitalists. Like I think for the first time in a while, or probably ever, we have really hardcore capitalists in the White House, which really sort of speaks to something that I've told you about before. I told you that you've always had a capitalist government. The problem, typically, though, they at least try to pretend, right? So it's like going from, it's like I don't know, if you think about it, it's like imagine if you had somebody who pretended, like let's say your daughter pretends to be a good girl, but really behind the closed door, she's a bad girl, if you know what I mean. Like she ain't really telling her, like, but she tells daddy she's a virgin, but you know your daughter ain't no virgin, but you just don't ask too many questions. Well, imagine if she says, "Daddy, I just got to come out of the closet now and tell you I got an OnlyFans, and now because I'm expressing myself, and I'm just gonna be out here just letting it loose for anybody who wants to be, to enjoy all this." Well, that's going to be a different experience, right? So to some extent, your government kind of has always been sort of pretending to be all about justice and democracy, but in the back room, believe it, make no mistake about it, there've always been capitalists kind of pulling the puppet strings. The capitalists are the ones who get the politicians elected. You look at what they do with APAC and all that. That's big money, basically controlling your politicians like little Pinocchios, right? And if you don't do what they say, they're going to get you removed from office by using money as a process in order to do that. So what's happened now, though, is now your government, instead of the capitalists being in the back and controlling the politicians in the front, they pushed the politicians to the side and said, we're going to be out front. So if you looked at Trump's inauguration, I've never seen an inauguration. I don't know if there's ever been an inauguration like this where you had that many billionaire business people literally standing in places that are usually held by people with cabinet positions and stuff like that. Like money has kind of become the rule of law in that Trump administration. Is that good or bad? I don't think it's good generally. I think capitalism can be a little bit too abrasive. Capitalism doesn't make room for the poor and struggling people of this country. But then again, the sad thing about America is that America's really lost its place when it comes to supporting the poor and struggling. It's lost its place when it comes to supporting American workers, which is one of the reasons why I'm telling my folks that you got to train your children to invest. Because the closest thing you'll get in America to democracy is this. Here's the closest thing you'll get to justice, equality, and democracy. The closest thing you'll get is that there is a democratization of finance to some extent in America, where anybody of any income level can make investments in the very same companies that are owned by those billionaires. Now, you can't get $250 million in your bank account like Mark Zuckerberg can, or $250 million in your net worth anyway. It's hard to do that. It takes a while. But what you can't, even though you could go, I mean, if you have a child that has great tech skills, they could create the next Facebook. So you never know. But what you can do is you can buy shares in these companies, because a lot of their wealth is built on publicly available money. Their wealth, it comes from a financial version of democracy, the democratization of finances, where millions of people buy shares of stock in these companies, and that's how they get their wealth, right? So here's the thing. Here's what I want to say to you, for those of you that are disillusioned and afraid, because you're right, they don't like DEI. They're not necessarily charitable in terms of giving their money away. But what I can tell you with complete certainty as a financial researcher is that if you'd bought $1,800 worth of Apple stock in 1997, you'd have $4 million. And then your problem wouldn't be a shortage of money. Your biggest problem would be how many people hate you because you're rich. And apparently because you're rich, you're out of touch and you never known what it's like to be poor, which I think is a big myth too, because a lot of you in here are doing well because you started off struggling, because you made a decision to get out of the mud, because you worked hard, because you invested, because you made good choices. So I don't think you should be vilified for that. But the world is trained to vilify you. I go through it all the time. Oh, you're out of touch. You're too rich. You don't know what. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? I was born poorer than you. You weren't born in the projects, but I was. You don't know what it was like to have roaches in your room, but I did. I didn't even think roaches were a bad thing. I thought if a roach crawled on your sandwich, you flicked it off the sandwich and kept on eating. I didn't dare throw away a good sandwich just because a roach took a little bite. Roaches get hungry too. So stop that. Just stop that nonsense. And I think that the reason that people think this way is because that's what works for the politicians. I think that's how the politicians manipulate you. They manipulate you by saying, well, those terrible rich people, they're all bad. They're all evil. The only way you can get rich in America is if you exploit somebody. And then they're like, but if you want to survive, vote for me, right? And I'm like, yeah, but I voted for you over and over again, and I'm still struggling, right? I guarantee you, if you go look at any broke, busted, torn apart black neighborhood in America, any neighborhood where there's violence and rats and dead people and terrible things happening, I guarantee you that neighborhood looked the same under Bush. It looked the same under Obama. It looks the same under Trump. It looked the same under Biden. So at the end of the day, what are we doing here? Like, where's the win? Where's the solution? Where's the solution? I know the politicians have a solution for their families, because does anybody give me a yes if you knew this? How many of y'all knew this, that if you were to simply track the stock market investments of most of your political leaders in the Democratic and Republican parties, that you would be insanely, ridiculously rich? How many of y'all know that? If you like Nancy Pelosi, she's like, yeah, I only make $200,000 a year, but I'm worth 90 million, right? How you worth $90 million on $200,000 salary? Like, how does that work? How does that happen? It reminds me of like back, like New Orleans used to have a real bad police corruption problem. Like the police in New Orleans in the 80s were so corrupt that when the drug dealers dropped their dope off on the ships, the police would give them a police escort so they have a big truck full of dope. And the police would be escorting the truck to get to wherever it needed to go. Right? That's how crazy New Orleans was. So here's what happened. Because my dad was a cop, and he said, yeah, back then the New Orleans cops only made like $12,000 or $13,000 a year. But you'd have some guy who makes $13,000 a year who's living in like $1 million house. how the hell do you afford $1 million house when you're only making $13,000, $14,000 a year in the 1980s? Well, it's because you got a little extra income coming in. You got a little something going on. You got a little side hustle happening, right? So the politicians, to some extent, are similar. They have side hustles. And the side hustle is investing. They utilize what I perceive to be inside information to invest in companies before the takeoff happens. Why? Well, because they're sitting in these committee meetings where they say, "Oh, we're going to invest $100 billion in this industry." So they start buying stocks in companies that are going to benefit from that, or they whisper to their spouse in the bed, "Hey, honey, go you buy some of this, buy some of that." And for whatever reason, that's not completely illegal, but hopefully at some point it will be. But I don't think that it will be because again, money doesn't really have much of a conscience, and if the person using the money doesn't have a conscience, then nothing's going to change. So anyway, so your politicians are always going to get rich. If they're going to get rich, I think you should be rich too. I think my brothers at Earn Your Leisure wrote a book recently called "You Deserve to Be Rich." I like that concept. Yeah, you deserve to be rich. You deserve that. You deserve to be wealthy. You deserve to be successful. You deserve to have the things you want. And I don't think that those people are going to give it to you. I think you can give it to yourself, though. So invest. That's the goal. Invest. All right. So anyway, do me a favor. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. And in case you don't know, every morning we do class. And also we have a great Black business school for children. It's the best on the planet. It's called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. And it came from the training I did with my students at Syracuse University when I was on the faculty there. And basically what I realized is that if we start training our kids on wealth at an early age, instead of, basketball and rapping and all these other things they learn, that these kids are going to be more financially successful. So if you want to receive information about our kids programs and you have children, you want them to be successful, be financially secure, and get ahead of the curve, feel free to text the word youth to the number 87948. So text youth to 87948. And actually, we're going to create a scholarship to one of our children's programs named after my beloved mother, Robin Watkins, who went to heaven December 24th. And I figured the way to commemorate my mother is to create a scholarship in her name, the Robin Watkins Scholarship. So we're going to offer that. And it's going to be a cool scholarship. You don't have to compete for it. You ain't got to fill out an application. We're going to give it to everybody. We're going to offer it to anybody who has a child that wants that child to get ahead, and it will be 100% free. So if you'd like to receive access to that, then text the word youth on your phone to the number 87948. So text youth to 87948. And I appreciate your condolences for my mama. It is hard. Losing your mama is like, it's like living in a building and half the roof just gets removed. Like, it's like the world does not feel the same. I just told my wife, I said, it's weird waking up every day without a mama. It's just, what the hell? It ain't supposed to be like this. Life ain't supposed to be like that. And she got hit by colon cancer, which affects millions and millions of our people. And a lot of this is preventable. I know a lot of years, she spent a lot of years eating a lot of the soul food that a lot of us eat and drinking a lot of the pop and everything else and all these things. And then suddenly I'm finding out that the sodas give you colon cancer. A lot of the food, the salty, greasy, fatty food that we eat gives you all kinds of cancer. So and a lot of you will know this. A lot of you have relatives that have been hit by cancer, right? Give me a yes. Shout out the name of any loved one you have that was hit by any of this. And I would just say that this speaks to a need for action. Like, this is a need for corrective and important action. And if we don't take action, then it's going to continue to happen. And we're going to pass that curse down to the children. And I don't want the babies going through the same thing that we went through. Okay. So anyway, just text youth to 87948. And when it's ready, I will let everyone in here, then their child, have access to the Robin Watkins Scholarship, which is basically just something from the Black Business School that'll help you and your kids get ahead. All right. So with that said, let me finish up on this Trump executive order. Hit the thumbs up button. And also don't forget, my podcast is on Spotify, so you can look me up there as well. All right. So a few other things in terms of what this is going to do with the price of crypto. The Trump currency, it's interesting. The Trump coin did not go up in response to Trump's new executive order. I was very surprised by that. I thought that it might. Bitcoin went up. And so maybe that's the market's way of distinguishing between real cryptocurrency and just a commemorative coin. That I'm not going to call the Trump coin fake cryptocurrency, but it's not crypto. It is not crypto. But it's traded on the crypto exchanges, and that's where the confusion is still there. So even though they're seeking regulatory clarity, that's still not very clear. And there are people like the Hawk Tuah girl. Did y'all see where there was this girl people become famous for just anything? But you remember there was the girl who became famous because she was talking about you busting a rap on the mic, using the mouth to do things, right? I'm not gonna. Y'all know what it is, right? And they said, well, what's your secret? And she said, you got a hot tour on that thing. He said, what? She said, you got a hot tour. I was like, oh, spit. Wow. And she became famous. She became known as the hot tour girl. I mean, she has t-shirts that say hot tour. This is crazy. See, all y'all that wasted your time like going to school and learning the skill to be famous, you just waste your time. You just gotta go out there and hot tour. Just talk about that. Anyway, so she released a coin, and this coin took off. I think it was $500 million in value, market cap, hundreds of millions of dollars. I think I got to double check that. Maybe it was just 100 million. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was a big fat number. And what was going on was as soon as the price went up, all the people that released the coin were just dumping their supply on the market. Because the way they make their money, right, is like this, right? So let's say I put out a coin and I put out like 1 million units of this coin. I say there's a million units in circulation, but I have, 40% of them. I have 40% of the coins, right? So what happens is, let's say that everyone buys the coin, and let's say the average price of the coin is $100. Well, 100 times a million is $100 million. So you have $100 million market cap on this coin because there's a million in supply. Each one's worth $100. I have 40%. So because the price of the coin went up, guess what? I now control. I have $40 million in wealth. Now, here's the thing. Because this doesn't last, wealth can just disappear like that. It can appear and disappear like that. Well, what happens is people start the insiders that held back the coins start dumping them on the market sometimes, right? They'll start just selling, and because they're like, I better get it while the getting's good. And that's what the hawk tool people allegedly did. And then what happened is the price just started to collapse. Well, because you had an oversupply of this coin on the market, right? And through time. So that does make it an investing environment that's not healthy. It's not safe. It does feel like a Ponzi scheme at some point. And it's something that, I'm not a fan of at all. I think that it should be regulated, and it always has been. It's just now with the crypto space, it's a little bit different. And I don't know if Trump is really the right guy to be shaping the regulations for market manipulation, because I could actually probably accuse him of manipulating the market a little bit himself. This is what you're getting. This is the president that you're going to get, right? And so anyway, that's it. We could talk about all the other stuff later. I don't, when people are like, well, I heard he doesn't like black people, and I'm like, well, do any of them really like us anyway? I'm with Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson said black people ain't really got no friends anyway. So there's a lot of liberals that don't like black. So I don't really care. Trump liking me or not liking me does not help me feed my family, right? Them liking you or not liking you doesn't affect anything in your life except for maybe your self-perception, because maybe you need them to like you in order for you to like yourself. And I just think we can like ourselves without worrying about what other people think. That's my position. That's my belief. You're welcome to disagree. All right. So anyway, that's it, guys. I just want to share with you all what's going on with this Trump coin, and why people are excited about it. The focus of the creation of the crypto reserve, very big deal, very bullish for crypto. U.S. leadership in digital assets. Oh, that's a big deal. They're going to invest. That means that you got the government backing you now. Protection of banking services, huge. That they can put their money in the bank. They're more mainstream. They're going legit. They're like the dope dealer who's now going legit. Prohibiting the U.S. Central bank digital currency, very big. No competition or very little competition. And then a clear regulatory framework. Reduction of uncertainty leads to an increase in asset prices 9 times out of 10. It's all good. It's all gravy. That says Bitcoin to the moon. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing. I'm investing consistently on my Coinbase. I have dollar cost averaging every single week. I have a little bit of money that just bloop, 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 bloop. Where as this thing rises, so will our family wealth. So I encourage you to consider the same. I'm not telling you what to do. This is just my perspective on it. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm gonna get out of here. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. And the ladies at Fly Nubian Money, Athena Gardner from We Wealth Women is going to do a presentation tomorrow. If you happen to be watching this live, it's going to be on artificial intelligence, the use of artificial intelligence in business and in life. I encourage you to dig in and take a look at AI. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening there. And so I'm gonna give you all the URL if you want to join the ladies in the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's all the teachers are women, and so that's where the female aspect comes into play. But a lot of the students are men. So if you like listening to smart Black women, then feel free to go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. That's the URL on the screen. All right, guys. So have a great day. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will check back in with you a little bit later. Take care, everybody. Peace.